Hello and welcome back to Tutoring with Gavin. In this series of videos, I'll be analysing the characters in the play Macbeth by William Shakespeare so that you can get your grade 9 in the GCSE English Literature Exam. In this video tutorial, I'll be exploring the character Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth is in a relatively small number of scenes, and yet she has become one of the most talked about characters that Shakespeare ever created. Perhaps this is because she has such a massive impact on events in the play, but also because the audience find her both horrific and tragic in the space of a 2-hour play. In Act 1, Scene 5, she enters reading a letter from Macbeth. We learn from this letter how Macbeth feels about her at this time. My dearest partner of greatness. In just 5 words, we see how much he values her, what he thinks of her, and how he sees her as a partner. This word makes us think of them as equals, unusual for the patriarchal time it was written. But the word partner can also be seen as a partner in business, the business of climbing the social ladder. She later tells Macbeth to put this knight's great business into my dispatch. In the following scene, she tells Duncan of the single business to contend. This repeated business imagery makes her seem even more calculated in her ambition, and is a clever dramatic device by Shakespeare to juxtapose an ambitious woman with the idea of business, which in Jacobean times was only carried out by men. Her very first thought is that Macbeth shall become king as he is promised. She has no intention of waiting for fate to put them on the throne. She is impatient for success and ruthless in her ambition. She fears that Macbeth is too weak and lacks the illness should attend it. In fact, she wishes to change herself also, to have male traits of violence and cruelty, in order to succeed in this venture. Unsex me here. Shakespeare shows how the Weird Sisters and Lady Macbeth are powerful in other ways, because they are able to manipulate Macbeth with their words. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valour, as thou art in desire? She questions whether his manhood and bravery matches his ambition to be king. She knows exactly what is needed to succeed, and it includes acts of evil. She also knows that the politics of power requires a certain skill. She tells her husband in this scene to look like the innocent flower but be the serpent under it. She is highly skilled herself in putting on a fake appearance. When she welcomes Duncan in Act 1, Scene 6, she is able to convince everyone that she is the loyal subject, and yet earlier in the previous scene, she has been planning his murder. Lady Macbeth is also very skilled in persuasion. In Act 1, Scene 7, when Macbeth says, "We will proceed no further in this business," she ridicules his courage and manhood, and "live a coward in thine own esteem." In order to prove her courage and ruthlessness, she talks of her willingness to kill her own child while it was smiling in my face, dashed the brains out. This is shocking for any audience. Throughout the murder of Duncan, she is determined, cool-headed and organised. She puts on a convincing performance when Duncan's body is discovered in Act 2, Scene 3. And when Macbeth admits to killing the guards in a fit of rage, she is so horrified by his unconvincing performance that she pretends to faint in order to distract everyone. This quick thinking is repeated in the banquet scene, when Macbeth reacts hysterically to Banquo's ghost. She had already warned him to be bright and jovial among your guests tonight, but when his outbursts start to raise suspicion, she comes up with a clever excuse. My lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. She again uses his manhood to shame him into being calm. This is the very painting of your fear. Would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire. Shakespeare seems to be suggesting that once she's gained power, she was comfortable in this role, unlike her husband, who becomes an evil tyrant. Their roles begin to change, with her becoming sidelined and no longer included in the decisions taken by her husband. Her change seems shocking when we see her in Act 5, Scene 1. After a long absence from the stage, almost forgotten by the audience and her husband, she is sleepwalking through a nervous breakdown. However, Shakespeare did provide a hint of weakness in her character during the murder of Duncan earlier in the play, when she says of Duncan, "Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I'd done it." This foreshadows her later breakdown and suggests that she wanted power so badly but was not able to deal with the guilt that came with this business. After the murder of Duncan, she tells Macbeth to consider it not so deeply. However, she is not able to stop thinking about it and finally becomes consumed by the images of blood. The motif of blood runs throughout the play and dominates her last scene before her death. Out, damn spot, out, I say. Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him? She tries to wash away her sins, but is traumatised by her crime and cannot rid herself of the image of blood, which represents her guilt. She goes on to say, "What, will these hands ne'er be clean?" Shakespeare's use of questions shows that she is confused and unstable. Shakespeare finishes using hyperbole to drive home the motive of blood. Here's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. She ends her life morally, mentally and spiritually destroyed because of her unbridled ambition. Her death is all the more sad because of Macbeth's reaction. She should have died hereafter. Shakespeare is showing us how a happy, loving marriage is destroyed by ambition, greed and superstition. Well, I hope this has helped in your revision. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can get notifications of more videos that might help you in your revision. Until next time.